Hi, Bother Brigade. Here's what's bothering me today. We should probably talk about something that no one else seems to be talking about, which is the fact that a minor domestic terror incident basically went down in Mission, BC. And again, unfortunately, really gotta stress here, no one is talking about it, and the police aren't doing anything about it. Attending a march on St. Mary's Residential School in Mission, BC, truck drove through the crowd, badly injured someone. The old man in the Chevy did it, appeared to aim at him on the median. So yeah, that's the summation of events at first, right? And unfortunately it gets worse from here. So what starts off, you can see that there's clearly a group of people here, men, women, children, by the way, all fighting against the terribleness that was the residential school system here in Canada. And they're marching on one of these former residential schools in the small town of Mission, British Columbia. But then apparently a truck drove through the crowd, injuring at least one person. Further updates say that there was 4 injured and 2 in hospital. And this is the domestic terrorist who drove his Chevy through the crowd. And so according to the person who first posted that, they said that after, the incident happened, they called the police. In this case, it's the RCMP. A single officer showed up, took a statement, and left. And then unfortunately, here's the follow-up statement from the RCMP. Minor injuries after driver hits walk participants. Earlier today, a group of people aiming to raise awareness about children who went to residential schools was disrupted by an impatient driver along Lougheed Highway in Mission. The walk, organized by the Crazy Indians Brotherhood, was making its way from Heritage Park eastbound along Lougheed Highway to the location of the former St. Mary's Residential School, when one driver became upset at being slowed down by the walk. The driver struck approximately 4 people with his vehicle as he tried to pass the group, sending 2 to hospital with minor injuries. The driver did not remain at scene. So, sorry, quick break right here. Anyone else feel really disgusted with how that's being described? Well, it was a very impatient man, and he was just so upset that he was being delayed, so he just drove through, the implication here is, can you really blame him? Don't we all get a little road rage sometimes? Come on, folks, it's not a big deal. It's very fortunate that no one was seriously injured, says Constable Harrison Moore with Mission RCMP. At this time, there is no indication that this incident was targeted or that the driver's actions had anything specifically to do with the people marching or their cause. While our investigation has only just begun, at this point this appears to be a case of someone being unhappy that their trip was slightly delayed and took it upon themselves to endanger the lives of others to try to save a few minutes. Maybe I'm reading too much into this here, but the tone that's coming from this document is one of excuse making. Really, right there with the whole, there's no indication this incident was targeted or that his actions had anything specifically to do with the people marching on their cause. The core problem, no matter how you slice this, is that someone felt compelled enough to drive through people expressing their right to protest. I'm pretty sure if I decided to drive through a conservative rally of some kind for whatever it is, anti-vaccine, whatever, if I just drove through, say, 20 people waving Canadian flags, I would be arrested, and the RCMP would absolutely have charged me, and the release would have definitely been a little more serious in terms of, this kind of thing is completely unacceptable in our community, our province, our city, etc., etc. That would be the tone, right? And in case you're wondering why I said, I would have been arrested, yeah, spoiler alert, no one was arrested. No one is in custody. However, thanks to numerous witnesses, police have identified the license plate of the vehicle. Anyone with dash cam or cell phone video of the incident is asked to contact Mission RCMP. The highway is fully open at this time, and Mission RCMP's traffic services officers are engaged in this investigation. Further updates will be released as they become available. No media availability at this time. So a dude drove through a crowd of men, women, and children seeking to protest the grotesque mistreatment and genocide of Indigenous people at residential schools here in Canada. It functionally, whether he was deliberately targeting them for that or not, this is at the very least, or it should be at the very least, a serious crime, according to the cops. But they're clearly not eager to do any kind of not even a slap on the wrist. They haven't charged the guy, even though people clearly know who he is. They have the contact information. The RCMP are literally refusing to actually solve a crime. Remind me again why cops deserve more funding for some reason when they refuse to charge potential domestic terrorists like this. Also, crucially, they say, there's that whole statement, but here's the problem, right? The cops are lying, and we know this because of other recorded evidence from the event in question. Here's Facebook Live video of the incident in Mission, which shows the lie in the RCMP's statement. Because the hit wasn't when the lane was blocked, it was when people were being let through, and as we were marching onto reserve land at the residential school. The video is mercifully a little unclear of, the actual events, but here is the video in question.
Thanks for joining me, everybody. It's the march we did today, we're doing today. Stopping traffic. They're being patient about it. See that truck did something over there. He's on film. Let's go!
And so, folks, there we have it. The cops lying. They sent only one person to take a statement, so they absolutely knew and were able to identify who this person was. They didn't charge them, even though they had very clearly committed a crime and injured multiple people, whether this was intentional or not, which again, judging from the actual video of the event, he's just clearly, he's impatient, so he's skipping around the line and happened to injure multiple people. Like, what is the RCMP doing here? Does this guy have dirt on them? Is that why? Like, what's going on here is just absolutely shameful and embarrassing. And unfortunately, no one outside of like a few pockets of social media is talking about this very egregious offense and an actual goddamn crime, whether you want to just see it as a plain old crime or it's a hate crime or domestic terrorism. Either way, what happened is particularly egregious. There is more than enough evidence for the cops to actually do their supposed jobs that we give them all this taxpayer money to do to arrest this person. You have all the evidence. You have testimony. You have all these various reasons to actually do a fucking part of your job, and they are steadfastly refusing to do so. Defund the police, abolish the RCMP, and actually charge this man for the criminal that he is. And the fact that I have to be one of the few people talking about this and bring it to people's attention and calling this for what it is definitely what's bothering me today.